So one thing I've been asked is, how do you stay productive as a professional composer, or those who want to be professional composers? Because obviously it's hard to be creative and productive at all times because you're not inspired all the time, of course. So let me go over a couple of things that I found out for myself that I find helpful. So the number one thing for me is establish a routine. That goes for anything you want to accomplish, be it working out, be it composition, be it creative writing. It's about taking the decision-making process out of the equation. There are so many things in your daily life that you don't think about because it's just part of your routine. And so the key is to make anything that you want to accomplish a part of that routine, so you don't actually have to think about it. If you do the same thing every day, you just stop thinking about it. It's just a natural part of your day. The writing itself usually isn't even the problem. Once you sit down and you're actually doing the thing, it's very easy and it comes naturally. The same way if I go and work out, I'm actually enjoying myself. I don't find it to be the drain that I thought it was gonna be. But the difficulty is to make the active decision to sit down and do it, or to get up and go do the workout, It's making that conscious choice that is the difficult part. So this has been the most crucial thing. When I get up in the morning, I go to the kitchen, I make a cup of coffee, then I'll sit down, see if there are any urgent emails that need answering right away while I'm drinking the coffee, and then I just immediately start to write. It's just become a natural part of my morning routine to first thing sit down and write music. And then everything else can come later in the day. And this is not an active decision that I make. It's just something that I do. And I know other people have other routines. They start with creative writing or journaling or meditation, yoga. Whatever is part of your routine, whatever works for you is great. Also, be aware that throughout the day, your decision-making power decreases. So in the morning, it's very easy or much easier to do the difficult thing. Whereas throughout the day, it's like decision-making is like an energy that we have that gets drained throughout the day. Your willpower goes down, your willpower to do uncomfortable things, to do difficult things. And so that energy gets drained throughout the day. So it's much harder at the end of the day to do the difficult thing. So that's why I decide to have that be the first thing that I do, because that's going to be creating something out of nothing is going to be the most difficult thing I will be doing in a day. The second thing that really helps me is figuring out my creative time. Everybody has a specific time of day where they're the most creative. For some people that's at night, for some people that's early in the morning, for some people that's midday. Doesn't really matter what it is, though. The important thing is figure out what it is for you. So I never thought I was a morning person, for example. And then all of a sudden I had to fly over to Europe for a recording session. I came back with a jet lag. You have this really long day, and I went to bed early and then got up early and kind of kept that routine and noticed that for me, my height of creative time is actually like 4:35 a.m. for a couple of hours before everyone else gets up. So I just get up really early before everyone else, and that's my writing time. And I never thought that I was such a natural early bird, because I have a really hard time getting up at like 7 a.m., 8 a.m. That's not the time for me to get out of bed. If I don't get up really early, I have to sleep in and get up late. But so this was the first time in my life that I chose to get up really early, and I've just kept that routine because it really works for me. That doesn't mean that's your routine. Not everybody is a natural early bird. Some people are natural night owls. So if you can kind of shift your day around your creative time, that's great. I understand some people have other obligations. Maybe you have children, family to take care of. Maybe you have a day job or anything else, and you can't just decide. I used to be a studio assistant with, I had to show up at 9 and work till late afternoon or into the evening. And it never really fell into my greatest productive time, to be honest. So actually having a day job was not ideal for me because my day starts so much earlier than everyone else's. And for me, the nice thing is also that I get the writing out of the way before everyone else even starts their day. And then by 9 a.m., when everyone else starts and, correspondence starts flowing in and all the management tasks come up and meetings have to happen, I can be more relaxed because I've already done the difficult things. So now I can do all the management stuff and, manage my team and give feedback and take meetings and all that stuff, make phone calls and be relaxed, have lunch, and then just do mock-ups and easier tasks in the afternoon. And then as the sun goes down, I can actually also just kind of retire for the day. Here's another one. Automate as many processes as you can. Starting with professional stuff like build templates in your digital audio workstation, build cue sheet templates, build contract templates for yourself, for your team members, have an NDA template. Any types of documents, any types of music productivity things, build different Vienna Ensemble Pro meta frames. Whatever your workflow is, you can figure out a way to automate the process at least to a certain degree. You can have orchestration templates, whatever notation software you're using. You can make different templates for different ensembles. Something else I will automate is my finances. Whatever can be an automated payment is going to be an automated payment. My accounting is automated. I use QuickBooks, other people use FreshBooks. Doesn't really matter what software you're using. But, all the transactions are automatically listed. I can easily categorize them. You can auto-categorize stuff. Tax payments go out automatically. You can automate your payroll. Any type of business stuff you can usually automate. There are automatic investments that I make every month that I don't need to take care of. I automate most of my communication as well. I usually do this through Slack. Other people use Microsoft Teams or, any other chat software, but where I can have automated channels and I can already write out instructions for everyone. There are general channels that contain naming conventions or stem splits. Anything that they're going to need in their workflow is going to be written out there already, so I don't have to do the management part. From my time in customer support, I've also learned to create automatic replies very often, so I don't have to write stuff out. If certain questions come up over and over again or certain emails come up, I just have automated responses. You can automate backups. You can automate PR assets. I don't just record one YouTube video. I record multiple videos. I don't just make one social media post. I will make sure that I will create a whole folder with PR assets for release and stuff that I can just pull from. Or you can automate releases as well. You can automate social media posts. You can automate any type of video release. You can just prepare everything and then just have it go out over time. And then there's also personal stuff. I will automate my coffee delivery. I will automate my food delivery, my grocery delivery. I will automate any type of delivery where I know this is going to be used up in a certain amount of time, and I will just get it just so I have more time to be creative and I'm not bogged down by general daily tasks. It does cost a little extra to do that, but at the same time, to get my groceries delivered once every, 2 weeks or 3 weeks, that is much cheaper than me pausing my work and then going to the store and kind of having this 2-hour trip to, get food for the next 2 weeks. That takes me a lot more time and I lose a lot more money because in that same time I could be sitting here working and I make a lot more money per hour just working than I spend on a service just delivering me food to the door once every 2 weeks. So this is kind of a return on investment type of discussion. Yes, you're spending money, but it's much better for me to keep sitting here and make more money instead of focusing on daily tasks. This is also why some people will get other services to take over other daily tasks for them, because it's much more feasible for them to keep creating. So the point is really to look at what is taking time out of your day and then try to automate all of these processes as best as you can. Because all of these things are keeping you from being creative and writing music or whatever other creative profession you have. I also do calendar blocking. I set specific start times and end times for certain tasks, especially if it's tasks that I don't enjoy. Like I have a whole inbox of emails to answer to, then it's much easier for me to say for the next half hour, I will be doing this, rather than making it an open-ended task. And sometimes I even plan my whole day in advance. It's flexible, of course. If I'm in the zone, I can just shift things around. But very often it helps me to kind of, at the start of the day, do calendar blocking and really plan out what I'm going to do when and how much time I'm going to try and spend on each task. And that way I also don't overload my day, because nothing is more frustrating than having too many things on your to-do list and then you don't get half of the stuff done. It's also a great way to see what you've actually done in a day, because sometimes we forget. It's particularly helpful also since a lot of us are working from home right now, so there's not really a clear, office hours type situation. So creating your own schedule, kind of like a school schedule almost, where, with the ring of the bell you start and with the ring of the bell you stop, it's kind of easier to structure your day so that work doesn't constantly bleed into your private life. Because I find it very draining when there are no clear boundaries. There's no clear, this is work time, this is playtime. It's very draining to me because then I have work on my mind all the time, just to generally get structure and focus into my day. Otherwise, I'm so unfocused. If I have an open-ended task, I'll get so distracted so easily. Set up a reward system, especially on days with low motivation. It's very difficult to get anything done. What I do is I will set very small frames of work, like a half hour, 45 minutes, and then I'll give myself a 15-minute reward, whatever that is. That usually helps me focus for just a limited amount of time to pull myself together and get through that slump, and then kind of look forward to a little reward. It's kind of a cheap trick and it might seem childish, but sometimes you just have days where working and being productive is very difficult. And so you need to figure out a way to do this. Sometimes you can even do this during tasks, like when I do mindless stuff like stem printing and things like that, or building Pro Tools sessions or whatever it is that doesn't need my full focus. You can do something fun on the side, like watch Netflix or whatever, catch up with some TV shows or, whatever it is that you want to do. Use apps to restrict your internet usage. You're going to need some internet access to, research and to work your rig. But for example, social media, there are apps that restrict you. There are apps that will log you out. There are apps that will restrict your daily usage of any type of social media, of your phone, on your desktop computer. I would make use of these apps because I'm usually very shocked when I get my weekly report from my phone and it tells me how many hours per day I spent on my phone and what apps I was in. It's very frustrating to know how much time is being wasted, how much time is being spent not doing the thing that I should be doing. So find apps that work for you, or, if you have the willpower, just turn stuff off, turn things on silent, cut things off and log yourself out until you're done with your work, because it's so easy to get distracted these days. Lists. I'm a huge fan of lists. Google Sheets or Excel sheets, to-do lists, whatever it is. Find an app that works for you and then figure out a good system. For example, something I will do. I have a Google Sheet where all the awards are listed that, one can submit to, or your PR person can submit to, all the festivals and all the like composer awards. I have on that sheet, I have all the deadlines listed, the entrance fees and how to enter, all the stuff, what I've already submitted last year, what I can submit this year. It'll be a whole comprehensive document about PR stuff. And then on my to-do list, I will just have an item that says, check that awards list or check that PR list. And it'll pop up, it'll just be automated, and it'll pop up every 3 weeks. Just so that every 3 weeks, I will just log onto that Google Sheet and go, is there any deadline coming up? Is there anything I need to submit to? And I will do this with a lot of things. I will just have a comprehensive list, and then I will just, on my to-do app, I will just have a reminder set every couple weeks. Hey, check that thing if anything is coming up that you need to do. And so I will do that with anything. But also generally my to-do list is just super helpful. Just reminding me about general stuff, because I'm one of those people that has a really hard time keeping all the information in my head. It's just clogging up the space that I need to create. And so I want to free up as much of that as I can. And so the way to do it is just to write it down somewhere and then have my phone or my computer tell me when to do it. Because otherwise it's going to be on my mind, it's going to take up space, and it's going to make me anxious because I'm worried I'll forget, This way it's just kind of somewhere else. And it can live there and the machine can remind me. Here's one more directly related to our job, which is pre-production. So while we're writing music for movies or TV shows, this process can take somewhere between a month to 6 months or even longer. So inevitably, you're not going to be inspired all the time, and inevitably, you will run out of creative energy. That's just what naturally happens. You're just going to be drained at some point. So in order to persevere and kind of get to the end of the project and still deliver even when you are low on creative energy and not inspired anymore, pre-production is what's going to save you. Pre-production and technique. Having themes, using that initial creative time before you start writing to picture to write down all the themes, to write down variations of the themes, to already have mock-ups and orchestrations and variations, to have a couple of rhythmic patterns you can use, to just kind of have a treasure chest of stuff you can use. Or maybe there are no melodic themes, but maybe you're designing custom sounds, for example. Whatever it is, you want to make sure you have that created at the beginning of the process. So by the end of the process, when you're not inspired and you don't have energy anymore and you're low on motivation, you're just tired, you can draw from that. So at that point, it's just craftsmanship. It's not necessarily inspiration or creativity anymore. And then the last one, and this is a big one that is often disregarded, which is health. If you don't have your health, you have nothing. You can't do what you love. This kind of goes under a big umbrella of nutrition, then also movement. Make sure you move enough. This is a desk job. This doesn't mean you have to work out every day, but just movement is already doing wonders. Get yourself a cheap smartwatch. Doesn't have to be an Apple Watch or anything. Every hour, it just goes off during business hours. And every hour, if I haven't moved, if I haven't taken any steps, it'll just ring and basically go, hey, get up. And what I do then is completely up to me. I can walk around the block. I can walk to the nearest coffee shop. I can pick up some lunch. I can also just, step on the stepper I have at my studio. I can, maybe do a couple sit-ups or maybe lift some weights, do some stretches, whatever I feel like. But the important thing is that every 60 minutes, I get up. I do not stay at my desk for 12 hours a day. Another thing commonly forgotten is drink enough water. I've seen extreme changes ever since in the morning I just got, glass bottles and I make iced tea for myself in the morning. And I will just fill these bottles with tea, and I know this is the amount that ideally I will be drinking throughout the day. But I don't even have to take care of it. It's just stuff that I prepare in the morning or sometimes even in the evening already. And then I will just grab one. Every time I go into the kitchen, I will grab a new bottle that contains half a liter of tea. And I know I have to at least drink like 5 of those, ideally more. And that's a really great system because I'm one of those people that forgets to drink water. Well, what's the consequence? Initially, there is no consequence, but then later in the day, you get headaches, you get low energy, and, your focus is waning away. So, there are consequences eventually in the day. And I'm so much more awake when I just drink enough water. I also started taking vitamin D. I'm in Southern California, so getting enough vitamin D is technically not a problem, but I actually don't go outside every day, even though the sun is out every day. But, sometimes I'm busy. I don't have the time to go anywhere. I don't have the time to take enough walks to get enough vitamin D. So just for anyone who has an inside job and spends a lot of time in the dark, be sure to get enough vitamin D. It's better for your mood, but also you just need it. Your body needs it. I'm so much more energetic. And another thing, get enough sleep. So many composers wear this whole I don't sleep thing as a badge of honor. I don't know what the point is. Like, why are you so proud of that? It either means you're very unfocused when you work, or you can't get your shit done in an appropriate amount of time, or you don't expand your team when you need to. But this whole I don't sleep, this is one of the worst things you can do to your body. Your body needs sleep. And so, yeah, if you want to die young, go ahead. But I'm going to assume most of us don't. So get enough sleep. Because there's always a trade-off. Yes, I will pull all-nighters when I have to, but there's always that time when your body just takes it back. There will always come a moment when you did pull an all-nighter and maybe you pull a second one and a third one, and then your body crashes and you can't do anything for 3 days in a row. So what's the fucking point? Then just go to bed. Just have that night of sleep. And then start early the next morning, and you're going to be so much faster, so much more focused, so much more productive. Like, all of these things have direct consequences. Like, not drinking enough water is going to cause you most likely a headache and low energy. Not having enough movement is going to cause you body aches. It's going to have consequences for your neck, for your muscles, for your back. You're going to hurt at some point. And also, again, it'll decrease your energy levels if you're sitting all day. The sleep deprivation, it's going to have so much impact on not just your focus, but also your mood. If you are in chronic pain, this is going to have some severe long-term impacts on your productivity. The goal is always that we want to continue to do what we love for as long as we can. But if you don't take care of your body, you're not creating anything. You're not going to be doing anything. One of the most important things, and probably one of the things that are often forgotten or kind of downplayed because we kind of glorify the constant grind. We live in a grind culture right now that, kind of pretends you get a badge of honor if you just constantly work and you're constantly productive and you never take time off. It's also a very American culture in general. In Europe, people's lives are a lot more balanced and there's generally a lot more focus on work-life balance. But this is important because so many composers and creatives in general have burnt themselves out and had to take several years off and couldn't do anything. So that can never be the goal. So take care of yourselves. If you want more of this content, like and subscribe and so forth, ding the bell so you get notification, you know the drill. And feel free to contribute on Buy Me a Coffee because I need a lot of coffee. I need so much coffee.